said, I'm me, there's no one like me. Trying, deep down, you trying. What's up, what's up, what's up? It's Paris Hart and Jason Williams coming at you live for another episode of the Love of It podcast. You know, whenever we have an artist on here, we have to bring up their genre. It's been tough before, but I have to say that this is the toughest. But these two, they make certified bops. They just mix electro pop. They mix dance. They mix old gold hip hop. Like, I don't know. They're making more than music. They're making magic. Today we have K808 and Khaledzouonce, and together they make Munny Cat.
What up, clap it up.
Happy to be here.
And cheers to you guys, man. Thank you so much for what you do and for being just like fantastic, wonderful supporters of artists and just helping people get their music out there and just being awesome artists yourselves. And thank you.
It's been really hard for us to describe what our music sounds like also.
That makes us feel a little better.
Well, good is one of them. You can start with that.
Thank you.
Oh, sweet.
Okay, we'll start with that.
I'll take that.
Just to start from square one, when did you two know that music was the path that you wanted to take in life?
For me, it was very cut and dry. The Spice Girls came out and I just wanted to be like them. So I never really grew out of that. So it's like everything that I've ever done in my life has just been like, is this decision going to make me closer to being a Spice Girl or further away from being a Spice Girl? And that's sort of the path it's how I live my life, is
You
by
did
asking myself that question.
Like WWTS.
Baby Spice. Yeah, like what would Baby Spice do? Yeah, so
oh yeah, what would Baby Spice do? That's good.
yeah. So that it was really simple for me. I always knew that I wanted to be a Spice Girl, and what a Spice Girl is changes throughout the years with the music industry and like with my interests and things like that, but it always basically comes back to wanting to be a Spice Girl. What about you?
For me, I always had music in my house. My dad played accordion and piano. My brother made beats and scratched and stuff like that. And he had a sampler. And then I got a guitar when I was in high school and like always played the piano. So music was always around, but we always kind of joke because she's like I think it's a good balance, but like she very much so knew exactly what she wanted to do. And I'm a little more like laissez-faire. Like I just like making stuff. So like when I was a little kid, I drew. And then I did theater, and then I wrote songs for like musical theater, and then I wrote like rap songs with my brother, and like we did sampling and stuff like that. And then I got a banjo, and then like so basically like for me it was like as long as I was making something, I'm pretty happy. Like we always joke that like if I ended up being like if on some multiverse version of me is like a graphic designer or a sculptor, and he's fine.
Oh, he'd be happy.
You know what I mean? Like as long as I'm creating and being artistic, I'm usually pretty good. When I'm not, that's when I get like, grumpy or like depressed if I don't get a chance to have any kind of
anything.
Yeah.
So that's when you two separately decided to make music. But when you came to making music together, what was that thing that you saw in each other was like, yeah, like I gotta make some music with you?
Well, we were together for probably, because we're engaged, but we were dating maybe like 3 years before we even got involved in each other's music at all. We were just like fans of each other's music. He had a really cool rock band called The Zoo, and I was a solo artist, and I was trying to learn music production for a while. So like I wasn't really secure as a female producer, and I really didn't want to have like a guy helping on my record, like when I was first figuring it out, because I wanted like all the credit for this record, kind of like personally, and I wanted to learn as much as I could on my own. And then like I feel like after a few years, like I feel like you asked if I wanted, like you had a song and you asked me to produce it, and then like you had another song and you were like, hey, check out these lyrics and let me know what you think. And then like I kind of started helping your band, and then I ended up playing with your band for a little bit, and then I feel like you would help me with some lyrical stuff. You would help me with like concepts and making sure everything worked and was solid. And I'm telling you, everybody that listened to both of our stuff, like the things that we worked on together. We had so much fun, and they were the only things that anybody cared about. They were like,
it was like the universe.
Yeah.
I've said this before, but it's like the universe was like punching us in the face to just work together.
Yeah.
Because like if we showed people like 5 songs or whatever, and one was like something I did on my own, and if there was one part that we did together, they were always like, oh, what's that? Go back and play that part again.
Just whatever we did together.
And so it was like the universe really was making it clear. So we decided to kind of just make like a third project that wasn't her project, wasn't my project. So we could just like shed away any kind of expectation of what, like, I feel like musicians get this, but like when you make a record and somebody likes it, all of a sudden there's like this like weird voice in your head, like, you know, because especially in my band, I felt like every time we'd make a new record, we'd lose like 20% of the fans and get like another 50%. But there's some people that aren't, if you're changing, some people aren't, they're not ready to jump with you yet.
Mhm.
Like they like you because of what they liked on the last album, or they like you because of the favorite song that they heard when they were at the club, you know, or at the bar where you guys are playing. Like they would get attached. So the idea of doing something that was like completely different was really rewarding, and we were basically both able to just go, what if we were nothing like anything we've ever done before, and we could just do something brand new with no expectations and no ties to our old art. And like it was just really liberating, because you get stuck in your head sometimes. Like you want to make music, you just think, oh, but like would that be on my record? I don't know. Or you just get weird about
Get
stuff.
in your own head about stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like when we started from scratch, it was like, I mean, I just feel like my music knowledge just like doubled overnight by having Khaled and being able to work with him, because he brought in all of his references and like ideas and interests and songs that he loved that I had never heard of. And same, like I feel like you know so much more about like early 2000s pop music than you
I know. I never knew anything
know.
about early 2000s. That was like the devil. Like I hated that stuff when I was young. Like, and then I started realizing, I was like, well, that's
He
not,
knows more
like, well, that one's
than
not
he
too
ever
bad.
thought he would.
It's like, that one's pretty good too, and I kind of like that one. I mean, and then I realized like, well, there's so much good music out there, and like I feel like in general with art, I always joke about this with friends, like that, like when we go to see a movie, I always like the movie. Like I want artists to win, you know what I mean? Like, so when someone shows me their music, I like it usually. What if, I don't know if I'm gonna listen to it on my own, but like the idea of like hating music or like getting angry about music, if I really don't like it, I just won't listen to it, or I'll be like, oh, that was kind of interesting, but like, or that was boring or whatever. I may have an opinion, but like the idea of like hating on a kind of music, I don't think it does you any good. Like I feel like you can learn something from almost everything. And I genuinely think I usually want art to win. That doesn't mean I have to listen to it all day, but you know.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of got me with the music you'd show me. I feel like you'd start showing me like, you know, just a lot of that stuff. And I was just like, at first I was like kind of skeptical. And then I was like, all right, cool. And now we do that all the time. We share music.
I feel like it's informed the way that you write. You didn't used to really write as much like from the Max Martin world, where it's like mouthfeel based.
Yes.
You know, where it's like I feel like our process has been informed by each other's.
So you guys know Max Martin? Max Martin and like Denise Pop. These are all people that she turned me on. See, I don't even say their name right. Denise Pop? Dennis Pop. I was trying to make it more like European.
But there's a Z.
Okay, yeah. These are like the modern architects of like pop music. Like they did like Backstreet.
Well, they did Backstreet and Britney Spears. But before that, they had done Ace of Base. Well, not Max. Dennis had done Ace of Base, and then he like took Max under his wing, and then Max went on to do Britney Spears, NSYNC,
even now,
Backstreet Boys, and then even now his he's still doing things. I mean, he did like Red with Taylor Swift, I think was him.
Yeah.
Or maybe not Red. Maybe it was one with "Are we out of the woods? Are we out of the woods? Are we out of the pop one, the big pop one?"
Yeah, like she just knows this stuff, and getting into that kind of like she was saying, like mouthfeel, like you're writing and you're just kind of like, before you have a melody, or when you have a melody and you don't have a lyric yet, you're just kind of like, you're gonna like it, whatever. It just starts coming out of your mouth. and going with that, where I used to take it way more like
What am I trying to
poetry
say?
based, and how am I going to fit this into this rhythm or this melody, rather than kind of just chilling and letting it flow out of you. It's a different animal, you know.
Dang, I think that explains a lot about your genres too, because I know personally my producer, I used to be hardcore of rap. I just want to be a rapper. Even if I didn't live the life, I didn't come from the streets, I just wanted to be a rapper. And that's all I could think about. And then he introduced me to like The Cure and Mumford and Sons. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this stuff is amazing. And I think like each song is kind of a part of your musical journey of like, okay, like I'm gonna steal that part of it, or I'm gonna get influenced by that part. And then you create your own sound. Like, is there anything though that when you guys go into the studio, it's like, okay, we're gonna bring this and we're gonna bring that into our music, and that's what makes us unique?
Yeah, but I think it changes every song. Which is kind of not really the answer to the question, but it's on a song by song basis, right?
Yeah,
I
I would
feel
say
like
there's
we go
probably
through
some
phases.
overarching themes, but we go through phases.
Yeah,
for sure.
overarching, what would it be? It would probably be,
I feel like we build tracks that would probably be fine tracks, and then when it gets to that point where most people would stop, we go, okay, now let's tear it apart, scrap it for parts, and remix it and make it sound like it's a remixed version of a song, that it's the original version, but it's
we
like
do that kind
sounds
of a lot.
sort of like, you know, like mixed. You know, like a DJ mix.
Yeah.
Like
you ever hear like you'll get like you'll hear a version of the song, you're like, oh, this is so cool. And then you'll hear the real one that's on the record, and it'll be like a totally different track behind it. Because a lot of times they'll get it out to a DJ and they'll do like a whole different mix. But I like doing that sometimes, because we'll finish a song and it'll be like, yeah, but like that's what we needed to get there. Like, so you start with a track and you write to that track. Sometimes it's fun to get what came out of that track and then destroy the track underneath it.
Yeah.
Like there was I don't remember who said that, but it was like Jeff Tweedy or somebody was like, it's your song, you can destroy it all you want. Like it's your right to destroy your own song. But he means it in a good way, like to deconstruct it. Like a lot of art, I'm gonna sound so pretentious. I think of it as like it's subtractive. Like you make something, right? And you have all this stuff happening. And in the beginning, it's a wide net. Like we just got all this noise happening, like all this stuff happening. And then it's a matter of like, okay, how do I change this up at the verse? How do I get more intimate? How do I go, okay, let's cut these 14 tracks out. And then you're left with this little thing. And then in the chorus, let's throw them all back in. Or, you know what I mean? So it's like subtracting, it's like adding and subtracting a bunch of stuff.
Totally.
Yeah, it's like you're rebirth. It's like becoming something and then it becomes something else. Like you're rebirthing it. Basically, you let it process. It becomes, okay, like I had this idea, boom, I visualized it, and now I'm putting it through this process. And okay, now the vision is not complete and I can see it, but this is not giving me a vision of something else I'm going to complete. So now, I mean, it's literally just growing.
I love that. I like that better even than a remix, because it's like a rebirth. It's like you're making a song and you think it's alive and you're like, psych. You know what I mean? Like what if I did everything different? Which is funny because we do have like we have like a bunch of drafts of songs. Like we'll go through the like when if we have to go back and like, you know, print a version without a vocal or something like that, we go back to our old projects. I'm like, is it version 36A bass heavy or 37B real final total mix? Like there's all these different versions, and sometimes we go back and listen to the other ones, we're like, oh, this is dope, this could be a whole other song. It's like, because there's things that was in it that got destroyed.
Yeah,
I think that's a product of modern songwriting based on production. Whereas when you used to write with just a guitar or a band and you're staring at a drummer or you're staring at a violin player, you're in your head, and if you're Beethoven or whatever, I don't think you did this much. Now it's about like sounds. So you can create a whole bunch of weird sounds and then chop them up so easily. Like, whereas before, you know what I mean? Like if you decide you want to change the drum beat on a song, you'd have to like rework everything and decide. But now you can just like, I don't know, what if it went like this? Okay, well, what if it goes like this for half a measure? Like it's so easy with the tools that are at your disposal to just like, you know, we try to make it as easy as humanly possible in our studios, like in our living room. But we have like, you know, like guitars out, basses out, like our studio's actually over there, and like Rhodes and a keyboard and a Nord. So as long as, because you never want to like talk yourself out of an idea because it's like, because you're lazy.
Because the guitar's under the bed.
Yeah, or like the amp isn't plugged in. So we try to leave everything as plugged in as we can. And then if you just go, I don't know, would this be cool? And then you just gotta not be addicted to it. If you play it and it sucks, just throw it away or keep it muted and maybe it'll come back later and excite you.
Oh,
Are we getting too process heavy for like
No,
producer?
You guys have a natural chemistry about you that hearing you guys talk is probably the way you guys make music too.
Aw, yeah.
We were literally working on a song until like 3 minutes before this call. That's why I was all stressing about the video, because we were over there. We're working on a new song right now that we just kind of got excited at, and we were like, okay, we have to get this vocal captured before we go to the thing, because it was a cool idea, but it was hard. It was like it's a kind of a hard to
It's a
sing
weird
thing.
melody.
So we got it down, and then we figured lots of times that's like the best way to learn a part is to like get a version in, and then like lots of times even like bump it and stuff like that. Like it's a hard rhythm, and then when you hear it over and over and over, then you can recut it. It's the same idea as we were talking about before. Lots of times we'll do a vocal, and you know, like you'll tune it and you chop it up and you bump it and you put it on the, and then you're just like, oh shit, I did too much. Like we you know what I mean? Like she's really, really, really good at like vocal production and crazy. So she'll do a bunch of stuff to it, and then it'll be like, okay, well now you know it. What if we just did that again? Okay, turn on the mic, and then you can sing it again. You've heard it over and over.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to touch on, you two spoke about not only knowing which type of music you want to make, but knowing other genres and knowing just everything else along the process. And I want to say that a lot of listeners out there should learn, like, you shouldn't just listen to rap. You shouldn't just listen to country. You shouldn't just listen to rock. And you shouldn't only just listen to artists. You have to go and look at the producers, the mixers, the engineers, the masters, and everyone that's a part of it. And once you do the studying and once you actually love the craft, you just hit that peak of like, okay, it's quality music. I have some good references. I know what I'm going to do. And you two, you see the love and you see the studying of music, and not only do you see it, but you hear it too in your sounds. And I just want to say, like,
You're making
Thank
like
you.
that's like what we are.
Because we are.
That's what we
huge
dream
music
someone
fans.
would hear in our music.
And
You know what I mean? Like
I would also argue for that case that like literally hip hop was invented from soul records, jazz records, blues records, country records, rock and roll records. Like they didn't care what the genre was at all. They didn't pay any attention
and
to
now
it.
hip hop is the most dominant form of music in the world.
And I'd argue that the only reason that isn't really a thing that happens anymore is because of the licensing laws. But like
like the sampling laws
there's really no
messed
reason.
that up a little bit. But
yeah, I feel like the biggest fans of music, the bigger not your record collection, but like the more music you know, like the more you can pull from and the more you can use in your own music. If you stay too into a genre, that's a way I think for you to sound dated really fast. I don't know if Munny Cat sounds old or new or whatever, but I know it does not sound like right now. It does not sound like what anything else really sounds like right now.
What's funny is I feel like lots of times a lot of newer music will really spark our interest, like brand new weird artists that inspire us. And like because we can't, like we have to figure out what they're doing. Lots of times it's fun to like kind of deconstruct, like for example, like we never, like I'm not naturally like a fan of like mumbaton and reggaeton and like those kind of beats. And I think in my head I was like, yeah, it just goes like that's easy, that's all that is. But we started actually trying to make it. We did a song called Full Bronto, and on that we wanted to really try and do it. And kind of like the same way, like if you were like a guitarist and you said, oh, the blues, that's just 3 chords, like it's just those 3 chords. That's the stupidest thing in the world, and it shows how dumb you are for trying to assume any music is as simple, because you don't even know how stupid you are until you start to take it apart. Like when we actually started to try and create a track that sounded Mumbaton
you just
influence,
learn so much.
I'm going, what is that rhythm? What is that falling on? Why is that bouncing off that? And like you just learn from digesting.
Trying to put those
music.
triplets into a quantized track is like,
all that stuff is so freaking weird. And like I always think about like songs are made of songs. Like all the songs you've heard lead up to your songs. So if you have a narrow, you know what I mean? Like if you only listen to one genre and you know what I mean, that's all you want to do. Okay, you're like kneecapping yourself, because you know what I mean? Like, you know, you're having less songs to build your songs out of.
Mhm.
I don't mean literally like stealing them, but I mean like, you know what I mean? Like if you listen to tons and tons of music, don't listen to stuff that you think sucks, but if you like it, just listen to it and actively try to find music.
Mhm.
And then you have a bigger arsenal and a bigger toolkit to grab stuff from.
Yeah.
Diversifying your sound is something that helps you appreciate other genres of music. Because when you stretch your appreciation muscles, you know, your ear training for other sounds, like, okay, like I resonate with this pattern. This is really good for me here. And then you recognize it in other places, like, wow, like, and you start to see like the I don't want to say singularity in music, but like the singularity of like your taste in music. Like, okay, like this is something that I as a person like. And when I'm able to figure out like what I like, I can like search for more things, and I'm open to the experiences because I know what I like is out there. And it's like, for me, I was somebody who was really heavy into a lot of hip hop, a lot of rock, and I wanted to get into a lot of other genres too. And it was really like you know, like, okay, I gotta try this. Okay, it's kind of nice, and now I'm on a podcast interviewing artists whose music I love. So it's just like
That's amazing.
it just kind of goes, you know, when you stretch.
That's the way to do it. I mean, there really is something to be found in kind of everything. Like, I feel like we get inspiration from not even just music, but from like books we read, or like from comic book movies.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Europe, we went to like Italy a few years ago, and for like 6 months, our songs all had like Italian choir
like
vibes,
harpsichords,
like, sounded like Renaissance.
Yeah, it got real weird for a little bit.
Really weird.
We're working on a song right now called Vini Vidi Vici, which is we learned in Italy. Which is
I came, I saw, I conquered.
Where do we see that even?
From watching Mary Beard.
Oh yeah.
Because
like
we like
Roman
watched
thing,
documentaries about the Romans when we came back, and I mean, like, just taking that, like, I came, I saw, I conquered. That's badass.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And so that's some leftover Italy. So all the things you consume come out of you.
All
so you got to
of
be.
it.
That's why I think it's important to be careful what you consume. Like, consume art that inspires you all the time, and it just starts to build like a bedrock of stuff, of knowledge. So if you sit around and listen to the same thing, or even if you sit around and listen to, if you only listen to whatever, some kind of like elitist music, like, you know what I mean? Like if you only listen to classical or whatever, and you think you can't learn from a trap track, you're stupid. Like there's so much you can get out of those rhythms that are different than, you know what I mean? Like it's not even like there's so much to learn from every kind of art, that like I just think you should just consume as much as humanly possible, and then try to figure out what they're doing. Like when I was little, I always did that with like Beatles records. I'd always be like, how are they doing that? Like, what are they doing? Like, what chord is that? How did they make that sound? I still do that. Like, I just was doing that. We were watching Get Back, and I got all excited. And I started like, I busted out my old Beatles songbook, and I'm going, what the like, I don't even know what chord that is. Yeah, that I Want You, She's So Heavy is a song. It's got this like E augmented, like whatever. It's just so fun to play through those chords and just go, how did they think this ugly chord by itself could work? And they found a way to sneak it into a beautiful melody. But,
yeah, it's like seeing a car. It's like, how does that car work? And like building the car from the ground, I was like, okay, then this engine goes here and this gear goes here. Like, oh, okay, I get it now. And it's just like,
yeah, I get it, and it works. It's just like, sure, but what if you had to build that thing from scratch, or you knew building anything from scratch? I don't know anything about my car. I know nothing about my car. Literally, if something breaks, I'm just done.
We'll just die on
I'll
the
just
side
die.
of the road.
Like, I'll just be stuck in the desert forever. You know? I bet you if we got into cars, though, we'd find something to get excited about and write a song about.
Well, I know I can view cars as a work of art. I don't know anything about the techie parts of them, but boy, they sure are pretty, certain ones.
Yeah, totally.
That same way that you guys feel about cars is the way that people approach music. And I feel that even though people approach music in a kind of like, I don't want to say amateur, but in a way that's not as you know, trained and as inclined to, you know, the production part of it, it's still just a nice time. Like if it's a nice car, it's a nice car. And the level of appreciation really just changes just on, you know, your diversifying of sound. So if you want to appreciate more music, you know, you could like it, but if you want to appreciate it, just really just get out there and listen to new sounds like Munny Cat.
Yeah.
I think that that's a good way to trick your brain, because I know a lot of people that I want to say this delicately, that are there. If you're not careful, is the way I'll put it. If you're not careful when you study music from a classical or like a Western or like a kind of like, I don't know, I think there's like a lot of like kind of like racism in music and like what we think is valuable in music, and like, you know what I mean? Like classical or jazz or traditional pop or whatever. People have this like racist hierarchy in their head of like when you start talking about music theory and stuff. But like, I think if you want to get into like if you want to get yourself out of a rut, like I know people that like, they know so much about music that when they hear a song, they just go, oh, it's just those 3 chords. And that's all they can hear, right? There's like, oh, it's the same chords as that other song. It's like, no, it's not. I could show you 2,700 songs that are the same 3 chords, and every single one of them is different. And so if you reduce it down to some stupid like idea like that, so I think it's really good to get yourself out of what you're comfortable with. Like we said, like I know like boom bappy like hip hop beats. I could do them all day. I could do them for the next 40 years and be happy because I love them. Like, you know what I mean? Like old school and like break beats and like that kind of stuff. Like I love that stuff so much. That being said, I try to make us like if something catches our ear, I try to go, well, how do they do that? And we'll sit there and we'll just be like, where's the snare? Why is it there? And like try and break it apart and challenge yourself. That's how you get better. Yeah, is it a snare? Is that a snare? Is it a tom? Like, and just trying to figure out what they're doing is the same kind of idea, like getting yourself out of your comfort zone. And like, if you get really, really good at something, great, abandon it. It's still there. You still have it. You know what I mean? Like, if you become like the best hip hop producer ever, okay, you're great at it. How would it work? What if you recorded like a rock record?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same ideas as to where's the vocal going to sit, and you still got that incredible background of knowledge in your head. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we definitely have weak spots. So when we find them, we try to look at my dog showing off.
Oh,
yeah, we try to like exploit them. Like if we feel weak in something, we try to like go and we try to do it so we can get better at it, knowing that it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I sound preachy, but I love this stuff. I absolutely love it.
For the love of it.
No, it sounds good.
That's right. It's for the love of it.
Yeah. And it's really it's really big information that I think a lot of artists should understand, because you could just be I tell my friends this all the time, you could be a veteran producer and go and record a song, and that could be your first song you release, and it might do crazy numbers, it might get you a label, it might spark interest, but if that's what you did off one song and just a strike of a match, whoever you listen to, they're gonna influence you and help you to not only just get that one strike, but I could make that song and that song and that song. And me and Jason preach that. Like you talked about weak spots. Everyone has a weak spot, but once you find it, once you fix it, whether it's I don't know how to play guitar and I think this would sound really good, or whether it's I want to play drums, but I think that it's just so much.
I know.
You can't do everything, but once you find your weak spots and you make them better, like the sky's the limit. And I'm just so happy that you're preaching it, because that's something that me and Jason always try to let our artists know. Like, if you go in there and you go record, let's say you go to the studio and just record your vocals, that's great. You're going to have fun. But once you know the language behind it, once you know why things are being done, once you learn piano and fifths, whatever you decide to learn, it's going to make your song so much better. And if I can give you a hug, I'll give you a hug for preaching that message.
Well, I know that it's, and I'm not, like, we're not saying, just to be clear, like, nobody here is saying, like, if you are a pop artist, well, you should make country music too, because we're not saying that's well-rounded. We're not saying that. We're saying that, like, I love me some country western music sometimes. You know what I mean? And, like, I don't make that, but it certainly could. I mean, we put in a little bit in our new record. We have, some total like low-key wild western, like Rolling Stones.
Yeah. We do like that a little bit. Like
influences.
Some Red Dead Redemption.
Some Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, we got some Red Dead Redemption vibes in there.
And it's not a different genre of me. It is still very much Munnycat. The goal is to become like a fan of art. Just like
Yeah.
really, if you say you love it, ingest it, find it, look for it. It's out there.
Yeah.
Enjoy it as much as you make it. Take it in too,
Like
because it'll
refill the coffers.
yeah, it'll
Like
go
you gotta
through,
refill
it'll
it
go
because
through your brain and come out in a way that only you can do it. You know.
And actually, I'd even like to say too, if you think something sucks,
Don't
don't consume it.
Yeah.
Because that too will get in there. Do you know what I mean? So you should find stuff that's inspiring to you. So sucks is the wrong word. But the thing, if you find things that are genuinely inspiring to you, I think you should consume them. And it takes searching them out. And sometimes you do have to figure out why you like something. But like I said, if you go in wanting it to win, like I was saying, like you listen to a song for the first time, you don't assume like, oh, this is like that other song. Try to figure out what's exciting about it and consume that, and try to tear apart the part you like and put it in the back of your brain and have it come out later.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So your music has been placed a lot of places. Is there any time or any few times where you're like, wow, like I can't believe our song was on that channel, or I can't believe our song was there?
Okay, so there's a few of them. One was just like I grew up kind of like wanting to be on MTV so bad. And MTV has changed a lot. Like it's not like, you know, like your music video isn't going to just be on MTV like the way that it was maybe when I was watching TRL when I was little. But we have had maybe like 3 or 4 songs that have been on TV shows on MTV, and they always put the name of the song and the artist in the corner, so people can look it up. Cool. and they put you on to their like MTV playlists, and then you get like an artist page on MTV's website and stuff like that. So that was really cool for me personally, just being like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like if I would go back and tell 7-year-old me that I was going to be like, my music was going to be on MTV someday, she'd lose her mind, you know? And then also I think that it was, right now, this Crest commercial, it's just like everywhere.
Yeah, we have our song in a Crest commercial that like all my friends,
and it's inescapable.
Take videos when it's on to like, and they'll just text me like a picture of the screen like all the time, like all over the country, and I'm just like, oh my God, like, it's on again, like this is crazy. So that's just crazy. That's just the power of like massive numbers, right? So if that many people hear the song, it just has an uptick in Spotify, because even if it's like 0.002, take the incentive to go and listen to it and SoundCloud or SoundHound it or Shazam it.
That one like hasn't ended. That one's been running for like probably over a year now, and it keeps going. And then they did like a TikTok campaign with the song. So then we had like Dixie D'Amelio dancing to it, and then she had like 2,000 people or like so many like using that song. And so I mean that's some stuff that's just real trippy when we think about it. Do you have any other ones that you can think? I mean it's happened, there's more like but those are my 2 off the dome.
I liked when our song was in the McDonald's commercial in Poland.
That was cool.
And it was a really artistic commercial with these girls like dancing and like these like running with these banners behind them. It was just like a really interesting commercial. And the fact that it was McDonald's was just baller. You know what I mean? It was like, that's a like I still remember stupid songs from commercials when I was little. I used to be the guy, I always Shazammed them when I liked it, and I would like add them to my collection. You know what I mean? Like when Apple would have cool commercials and whatever, but and I liked that we were on the Emily Dickinson show because we watched it at the time.
Yeah, that was awesome.
There's a show called Dickinson on Apple Plus with
Apple TV
with Haley Steinfeld. And it's just like a good show. And then we were on it. So we were like season 2, we're going to be, and we didn't know exactly where. And when it happened, it was like they built a montage around it, and it was just trippy.
It was the first time our song had been used in a scripted thing as a montage. So that was really cool because you could tell that it felt like they were like listening to the song on set and doing things to the beat. Like they were cutting it to the beat. And it was really, really cool, you know, to see.
No, yeah, that's really cool. Like, honestly, when it comes to the shift of, okay, this is what I love doing, this is what I like to do, and now this is what I am doing, and this is what I'm getting known for. It's just living and like transitioning from one reality to the next is just really something that a lot of people don't get to, well, I don't want to say don't get to live, but don't get to really experience. Like it's something people live every day. They just might not realize it, but it's right there in your face. It's on TV. It's you know, making it official.
We were eating dinner the other night. We have a little card table and we sit right here.
Yeah.
I just bring it out and like we'll eat and we'll watch like a YouTube video or something like that while we eat then. And we were eating.
Oh yeah.
And our song came on a commercial for
Cool Sculpting on a YouTube ad. Like I knew that we had gotten something, but lots of times if something's like a YouTube ad or like an internal thing, you don't get to see it. Like they don't care. They like, you know, they get they license it, but they don't like send you a copy or like, you know what I mean? Like they've moved on. The ad agency's got other stuff to do or whatever. But we were just sitting here and it was like, what the? And we turned, and it was in the background, but like, it sounds
like
corny.
out my drink.
We are so, I feel like we are truly grateful because we're not from, we live in LA now, but we grew up in Ohio and it's like a town called Youngstown, which is not really a ton of music opportunities, obviously, like most places in the Midwest. And we still made music every day, but we always had jobs so that we could make music. Like, you know what I mean? Like we would lose money. We'd save money from our jobs to go and record, or we'd save money from our job to go and buy a microphone or whatever. So it literally, like, I feel like every time we buy groceries with music money, we're like giddy. Like we're still like, oh my God, we're paying our rent. You know what I mean? Like it's the coolest thing in the world because it's what we always dreamed. And I never really thought it was a reality because of so many, just that, like I said, where I grew up, it wasn't really an option.
But that's why we're a good team, because I always knew there was someone out there cashing those checks.
Yeah.
Someone out there is doing exactly what we want. So like, why don't we just get our asses where they're doing it?
That's exactly what, that's the balancing act. Because I'm still like, you know, I'm just like, they want to give us money for what? Like I'm still like not there yet. But you're
just
more
like, of course I'm a Spice Girl. This is what was supposed, of course this.
You like manifested it.
Yeah, we had to manifest. I did.
Yeah, that's like me and Paris' relationship. Like I'm the one that's like, of course this is gonna happen. We're doing it every day. Like this is what we're working for. And Paris is like, this is insane. This is crazy. You know, there's no way that this is happening. It's like it has to happen.
That's good.
We're doing the crazy thing.
That's good that you got both.
You need both. Like I would, if I didn't have a college, like I would have been one of those people that just moved out to, you know, to California when I was 18, couldn't afford it. I would have not known the area. I would have lived in a bad part of town. I would have let people find my artist voice for me. I would have totally allowed that because I wanted it so bad and I hadn't found my voice. And I was like, you know, I want to go out there and get in it. But you've got Khaled who's going, well, let's do this the right way. Like, let's really, I mean, like, you think I'm going to grab the mic and waste my nation's time?
Yeah. That's a KRS-One lyric I always talk about, where he's like, people died so I can rhyme. You think I'm going to grab the mic and waste my nation's time? And it's a point, like, you have the luxury of being heard by anybody. And the fact that anybody would ever even consider putting us on Spotify or for more than once or whatever, it's like, that's an honor. He means it in a little different way, obviously.
Right.
But I mean, that idea is still there to me, that like, it's precious that anyone is going to allow you to, is going to listen to your art.
And I
because there's so many people that listen to art that don't. So I feel like you better be saying something you care about, and you better be doing something you're proud of if you're going to put it out there in the world. Yeah. So I do think that I'm a little more like,
I would have been out here before I was ready.
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm like more like, I have a bunch of like weird moral codes about music.
Yeah, you may not be out here if we weren't together.
No, I don't think I would be.
And I would maybe be out here and be like miserable.
Yeah. Yeah. You know? So you need both. You need the person that's totally the idealist that thinks you can just, because you'll be the one driving the boat, like just keep going, keep going, keep going. Of course we're gonna make it. Of course we're gonna do it. And then you know the other guy going like, well, hold on. If we do want to make it, is this the right choice? Like there's someone who's a little bit less. So you need a little bit of not pessimism, but like realism. You need like an optimist and a realist to kind of balance it out. I think that's just one way. That's just what works for us.
Yeah, and I think it covers each spot on the board when you have both. But I hate to take it away from your music, but me and Jason, before you got on, we were talking about how dope your visuals are.
Sweet.
How do you come up with the video ideas or like what you're gonna do? Because those videos are dope.
Thank you so much. Well, we're very proud of those because we make them ourselves.
Yeah.
So
we have a friend that like now we have a couple friends that'll help us shoot it. They're like amazing, but like most of the videos were just like elaborate selfies. Like we would set up a camera and I'd look and she'd be in focus and I'd come and get it and then she'd run back and she'd look and check my phone and she'd run back. You know what I mean? So there's we do have help in the sense that now we have friends that like
friends
Paulie and Jenna have shot things for us and like we are really lucky.
But I feel
the ideas are we just come up with all these crazy ideas.
Yeah, so I feel like we kind of listen for the song and like the song kind of I feel like sometimes we choose the singles based off of which songs give us like visual ideas.
Yeah,
you know, and to be honest with you, sometimes it's going on Peerspace and looking at what's available because I'm the full Bronto video we did entirely in this apartment
or
in
the
our back
backyard,
alley.
like in our alley. There's out this window. There's another balcony for our neighbors, and they left it unlocked. The thing to climb up to it, like it's like a metal outdoor like West Side Story thing. And the one day it was unlocked, and we were like, we're shooting this in 2 days. Like if it's still open, we're gonna do that. And so Kate just like jumped the little fence and climbed up it, and we shot lights out of our window on her, like colored lights, and we shot from our porch and from down in the alley. Like all of it is within, you know, it's in our house, in the alley, or in the thing.
We went to a hookah bar that we were regulars at.
And we just asked our friend.
We asked if we could go in before they opened up and film.
And he was so excited. He's like, absolutely,
and
that'd be cool.
And he shook his
he wore the gold burqa in it. Yeah, and it was a costume he made. So like that kind of stuff. I think that's a really good way to look at it. Like,
what do you have available to you?
Start with what you have around you, because perfect can be the enemy of the good a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like our one friend who's a filmmaker. I love the way his brain works because he starts it all in his brain, like when he wants to make a movie, and then like he'll write a script, and then he'll be like, okay, I gotta find someone who has a big, huge backyard with wonderful view of the mountains and rifle. And I'm like, why would you write a movie about guys in the mountains with rifles if you don't have, you know what I mean? But to me, I look at it like, what do you have access to? Just do it.
So like, I mean, I really like. We'll check out Peerspace a lot, and in LA or in New York, there's a lot of them. Just like options where people kind of put up, you know, I feel like Check It we found on Peerspace.
Yeah, it was like a really cool
video.
Mod.
It was like a mod kind of 1960s swinging shagadelic pad that this guy had, and we just rented it for like 3 hours and ran inside and we're like,
that was just
me. It was just me and Colin.
It was literally, we were setting up the
lights. We brought costume changes.
Yeah.
We brought the whole thing, and we just were like, we'll be out of your hair in just a few hours. Thank you. You know what?
In general, I always think just at least doing it. If you think if you just do it right with anything, if you just write the song, or just if you can, you know, shoot the video, you may get something out of it. We have 2 videos at least. Well, at least the one. We have videos we didn't even release, and we have the one video from the Ren Rooster thing that out in the middle of the desert. So we have like 2 videos that like one's like done, and like another one we had all the footage and we just didn't come together, and like we didn't like how we looked in it. Like there was just something about it we didn't like. But like we were driving across the country and we just filmed it. We just filmed a music video anywhere we stopped, and like when we were moving out here. And so that doesn't mean you don't have to use it, but more times than not, if you get something and get it working, you can get it to someplace.
Something to do with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so what? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to ask this question now. What do you have coming for 2022?
I love you guys. Sorry, what did you say?
Thank you.
Yeah. You want to tell?
Well, we're working on a new record. We're finishing it. So it's going to be called Golden Goose. And
Golden Goose.
We have 2 music videos done for it. The one is completely edited and color treated and everything, and we're just making sure that it's perfect. So we're sitting on it for just a few days until we decide. And then we have the other single that's got the video. The first pass is edited, and then we're going to go back in and look at it and tweak some things too. We're very excited about it.
This is
going to be our first full-length record.
Yeah, so it's like a full-length album instead of just like a single or an EP. So we have that coming out, and we have the videos for it, and we're really trying to do it right. Something that I think we try to get better at every time is like
The actual
release rollout, because that's the stuff that sucks about being an independent artist, is like you have to know all this stuff somehow. So like, I mean, like we're trying to get better at like, okay, so if we want to put the record out in 6 weeks, we have to have our photos done, our video shot, our album mastered, the artwork
So we've been
done.
trying to get all of that
Yes.
stuff like done before we even give a date, because you know, like I feel like that's what we always do wrong. So
Like,
we're trying to do it.
We're trying to have
really-
like a Dropbox folder with like
Oh,
our
yeah.
Facebook banner, our Twitter thing, our new picture, so that when it comes time to do it, we're ready and we're just ready to fire. You know what I mean? So when we want to submit, we have to have our press release written. We have to do all that kind of stuff. So talk about perfect being the enemy of the good. This is probably an example of us doing that. Like we're trying so hard to get everything so perfect right now that like we should probably just like announce a day and then we'll just get it done.
Yeah.
But we're trying really hard to get it done correctly this time.
Yeah, but we are very excited, and it'll be. I don't think we should do any later than like April. So
Yeah, so it'll be out before
soon.
April.
It'll be like spring, you know. But
Hey.
we're very excited about it. It's
Yeah.
gonna be. I feel like our last record was like the mixtape, and it was rough and like really like grimy.
Yeah.
And it was dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We were trying to make it sound like we had sampled a bunch of old records, but we couldn't afford to sample the record. So that's what we're talking about, kind of deconstructing a song. Sometimes we would make a whole song, or we'd play a Rhodes and a bass and a guitar, and then we'd sample ourselves and destroy it and make it sound like it was on old tape, and put like the crackles of the record and stuff like that on it, and the loop, and try to really make it feel tape saturated and whatever. This record is way cleaner in a good way, like
kind of cute,
more in a hip hop way,
colorful.
like big 808s. Yeah, like
It's
cleaner and spaciouser,
yeah,
where it's not like grimy and
more
nasty. Melodic, yeah.
So we're very excited about it.
Hey, when you're getting ready to drop that, you have to let us know. We'll do something live for it.
Oh, that'd be
so
fun.
sick,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
But what's some places that people can find you at online, like on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram?
All of them are Munnycat or Munnycat Music, but it's MUNNYCAT. So like our YouTube, we're really trying to get people to go to our YouTube more, because we got like, I love all the
We
videos.
got those
like-
cool videos.
but
we don't,
YouTube isn't, when you're a band, you don't
if
update
you don't
your YouTube every
update it-
week. So the algorithm doesn't like us. So like we put out a video, and then it's like 3 months and we put another video. But we're really trying to get people there, because I think we got a lot of really good videos and stuff on there. So our YouTube /Munnycat, Instagram, we do
Slash
Instagram
Munnycat.
a lot /Munnycat. We got a Twitter. You do the
Munnycat.
Twitter more. TikTok, we dabble. But we're at Munnycat on. I think we're at Munnycat on.
Everything except Facebook. Facebook is
It's like Munnycat
Munnycat
Music.
Music.
Yeah. So everything that could be a thing, we're at Munnycat.
Hey, well, bet that everyone listening out there, if you want to hear some great music, and if you want to hear some sounds you've never heard before, you want to get taken away to that beautiful place that you always dreamed about, you know where to go, you know where to check it out. And from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you two for being on our podcast.
Thank
Yeah,
you
you
so
guys are
much
nice,
for
man.
having us. We can't wait to
No,
come
you
back.
guys are.
Thank you for being awesome and making us feel so welcome and warm that we can, like you were talking about, it's just a vibe, man.
Hey guys, this is Munnycat, and you're tuned in to the Love of It podcast.